morning. This is Wendy Gaylor with the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce coming at you with the Chamber Vibes podcast. And we are so thrilled to have our next guest as we were focusing on movers and shakers for Bedford. We have a VIP guest this morning, Delegate Kathy Byron, who is actually the Virginia Chamber Legislator of the Year for 2020. And she has done such a phenomenal job. She supports public policy, one of our big leaders, public policy leaders, and she is the key to ensuring that Virginia continues to grow and prosper. So we are thrilled to have her and looking forward to what she's going to say this morning.
Thank you, Wendy. It's always great not only to be with you, but to be with members of the Chamber.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor for you to come in today. And, you know, you have been in politics for so long, since basically, what was it,
1997.
1997, and a Republican and member of the House of Delegates representing the 22nd District and consisting of Bedford, Campbell, Franklin counties, and the city of Lynchburg, and you have been doing a phenomenal job. We are so blessed to have you as our representative. Cannot say that enough. I'm totally thrilled that you're in the position that you are. And you've been married for how many years?
Oh my gosh, you caught me on that one. It's 48 years, a long time. That makes me sound really old. I'm sorry.
No, you got married very, very young, and you're certainly not old.
I did. I was very young.
And you've done such a, like I say, a phenomenal job, and certainly a lot of things that happened just because of you and your position and your stance and what you did for Bedford residents and our businesses, our entire community. Certainly broadband was a huge, you just did it. You were the spearhead for all of that. And so thank you. We can't say thank you enough. And so we're going to, without further ado, I want people to get to know you a little bit better. And so we're going to just do fun questions at the beginning. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, trying to find spare time is challenging as it is. But in my spare time, I actually like to hike. I just recently started something that I've been wanting to do for years, and now I have a grandson on the way due in July. So I am crocheting a blanket, my very first blanket for my new grandson to come. So I'm having fun with that, looking forward to presenting that to them. And of course, I love to top the week off in church on Sunday and being with a lot of my friends and family members there.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And, you know, you are so well known, and I tell you what, grandson, that's going to be on the map. That puts you on the map now. When you have grandkids, it's like a whole different level, and I'm so excited for you.
Well, thank you. I do have 5, but they all started to grow up, and this is a latecomer, so I get to start all over again. This is great.
That is wonderful. Oh my goodness. Well, so let's start off with what made you run for office?
You mentioned the 24 years, and it's amazing that time goes by so quickly, and the older we get, the quicker it goes, it seems. But when I first ran for office and I was actually talked into it, I repeatedly said no, I wasn't going to, and somehow I just ended up getting convicted and decided that it was important to step forward and to be able to run. And I ran because of business. So I was a small business owner with my husband for over 25 years. And I realized how important it was to make sure that government actually worked for us, not the other way around, and that we have less regulations on businesses so that they can grow and prosper. So I took my business experience and my family experience with me to the General Assembly, and that was the reason that I ran. And I have been so humbled by the many years and the things that I've been able to get accomplished.
And what do you feel has been the best overall achievement for Bedford business?
Well, I just love Bedford, and my whole district is great, but I have a special heart for Bedford and our home that we had there. And I'm in Campbell County now, but it's still part of my district, and I fought for Bedford and still do. But Bedford, we have been able to do so much over the years through the Tobacco Commission. with our research and development commission that I chaired. We actually were able to get businesses into the New London Business Park, starting out with the Center for Advanced Engineering and Research, which was kind of like the hub that started the growth in there. And from there, we have seen a lot of businesses come into play. We have the Nanocept, which was another grant participant with the Tobacco Commission, and they're doing phenomenal with their products, and even more so now with COVID and the need for disinfectant and products like they promote. Another one that came as a result of the Tobacco Commission was Light Sheet out in Bedford, and they are doing a great job as well with their products dealing with lighting and different sources that they sell. And another one that's coming that just broke ground was a company formerly known as Signal Tape. And I believe they are going to have great success too. And the great thing, Wendy, about the research and development projects is we helped, we came at a time the Tobacco Commission was designed to revitalize areas that used to depend on tobacco growth. And now the tobacco not being a part of that, we needed to look for other things that we could revitalize the economy and bring jobs to the area. And with research and development being a part of the Tobacco Commission, we were looking at startup companies that were doing innovation and that were going to have supplier chains. And the idea was not to just bring the business, creating growth and employee opportunities, but to be able to bring those suppliers with them. So we are real excited about what that has done for Bedford. And then, of course, broadband is another big thing that not only our businesses depend on, but it's critical now for education, telehealth, all different needs that families have. Technology is not going away, and the more you use it, the more you need it. So we were able to get early on work for broadband, and we continue to work on some of the areas that are difficult to serve because of the areas being harder to reach. But we have been able to bring 7,000 residents in Bedford County high-speed broadband, and we now also have some other areas that are getting connected, and the county is just doing a great job with that.
Absolutely. You guys have done a tremendous job, and we are so excited about what's ahead, too, and all the work that you are certainly on these committees and making a difference. So our businesses have overcome so much through the pandemic, and so many different things that are coming at them as far as like what they had last year is for PPE, all of those regulations. And then, of course, now with the higher wages and potential higher taxes and so many that we can name off, and less workers, and the workforce is depleting, and so many things, so many challenges. But what do you feel are the greatest challenges to overcome right now for businesses with the new laws and government regulations?
Wow, that's a really loaded question. I'll try to summarize the best I can. The last couple of years have been really difficult to sit back and watch. We've been fighting and fighting, but our voice isn't being heard for small businesses in the General Assembly, and laws have passed that should have never passed that are anti-business. And I'm very concerned for businesses. They are really struggling. The pandemic was extremely difficult on them, and then the regulations that were placed upon them by the Department of Labor, and just the effects of the pandemic and people not working or not being able to work. And then unemployment has been increased to a degree that people have no reason to go back to work because they are receiving so much unemployment benefits that in their minds, it doesn't make any sense when they can stay home and be with their families and do other things and receive the same amount of money with the stimulus and the additional unemployment benefits. There's no reason to go to work. So I'm hearing from a tremendous amount of businesses that are having difficulty finding workers again, that want to get restarted, that worked their way through the pandemic, that struggled to make sure that they kept their business doors open. As a small business owner, I know what it takes to operate a business. And I also know that those first 5 years are tough. So to see some of these businesses that have invested their lifetime into businesses close was just really heartbreaking for me to see that. But we continue to see in the General Assembly a new group that is in control, that is anti-business. And a lot of the legislation that passed is very harmful to businesses. The costs are going to go up on businesses, and it's going to be utilities. It's going to be the cost of making sure that they have litigation, money set aside. There's just a lot of bills that pass that are not good for business, and we need to make sure that business pays attention and gets involved. I understand how difficult it is for businesses that have customers to kind of keep themselves neutral on things that are taking place. But, there comes a point where you have to stand up for your business, and they're going to have to make sure that they become involved in making sure that these policies get turned around. And we're going to keep fighting for everyone. And we've got some great businesses, and they will continue to put everything they have into making sure their businesses are a success.
Yes, and you have been with the business advocate that you are, really and truly. I know it's a huge undertaken and your obstacles that you are going through with everyone feels like they're against you. But thank you for being such a wonderful pro-business advocate for our small businesses that so need that cheerleader and the one that's out there on the front lines making the difference every single day and trying to make these laws that are pro-business and helping the businesses to grow and thrive as they need to. And with these challenges that are coming up, we know that there's so many in healthcare, providing that. I know you've been on those committees as well. What's new with that? Is there anything that,
Well, there are some definite things that took place, and some things that could be coming around the corner that they need to very much be aware of, and that their voice be heard. One bill that didn't pass last year, but it was voted unanimously by the Democrats out of the House Labor and Commerce Committee, dealt with the benefits for people to go on leave, the Family Medical Leave Act, and that is very costly for businesses. And that bill failed in appropriations, but there is a promise that that bill is going to come back if they're still in control next year. So you have that bill that's important. There was another bill that passed that would create a retirement fund that the businesses would be required if they had 25 or more employees to participate in. And it is one that would be very costly as well. There are a lot of health insurance bills that we tried to pass that would have made it much easier for individuals and businesses to offer different plans that would have been more cost effective for employees, and those failed. We're going to continue to fight that we reduce the health insurance plans. I know how difficult that is. My daughter is in business for herself, and they pay a tremendous amount just to have catastrophic insurance for themselves and their employees. And we need to keep fighting for that. That is a very important thing. Everyone should be able to have some type of coverage that they can afford.
Yes, I agree. That is a very big hardship for businesses and for individuals, just getting that coverage that they do need for themselves and for their families.
Absolutely.
And so keeping on that healthcare and different things that are affecting our businesses is the marijuana issue that came up, of course, now legalized. And so in July. And so talk about that a little bit, how that is going to affect our businesses and, HR and how they're going to deal with that.
Well, I have to be honest, the only way I can explain that bill was it was a mess, and it needs a lot of work done to it. They basically just passed out a bill that legalizes simple possession of marijuana. You can have up to an ounce without any issue at all, and be able to grow, I think, 4 plants in your home. You can't sell that to anybody, but you also, if you have in possession up to a pound, it is a civil penalty of $25, which isn't very much of a penalty to anyone. But if you have a pound and an ounce after that, you will spend a year in jail. So the extremes of the different penalties, there's no infrastructure that was put in place for those that will be selling it. So it was really just a shell of a bill that next year we will have to come back and pound out the details. But I think the big concern for businesses that I've been hearing from the manufacturers and others is how they are going to be able to deal with the employees that come in, because it has such a long residual effect in your blood, and the physical impairment that it can also bring with it. And I've been hearing from law enforcement that some of the bigger concerns with them is the marijuana that is tainted. And that's where they're running into big problems. So you have to realize when people start to sell it, you're not always getting a pure product, and you have other things that are in there that are much more powerful that can cause issues. And law enforcement is not trained yet. The law goes into effect, and yet you're going to have people around driving vehicles that are impaired by that. And there's no way to really measure the level of impairment. So it is a real problem, and something that I think just looking at the revenues from a product that government is going to profit from is not a reason to haphazardly rush a approval of marijuana. But that is something that was on their agenda that they needed to get done, and hopefully next year we can go back and make some changes to that that'll make it work for everyone in a much better way.
Yes. And that is just another challenge that the businesses have to
Absolutely
overcome.
A major challenge with operating equipment and other things that are really critical, that people are not impaired in any way when they're doing so.
Thank you so much. You have been so wonderful talking to us about critical laws and regulations that our businesses need to be aware of, and we want to make sure that they are informed. And thank you again for representing our Commonwealth so well.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and thank you so much for allowing me to be with you and be able to share with the other businesses in the community.
We'll look forward to hearing more, and have a wonderful day.
You too.